episode of Reva and
Season.
Obi Wan Kenobi recaps on The System Is Down and Second Print.
You sound excited about it, so that's good. We got that going for us.
Hey, it's Marc Clair, everyone. He's here too. Marc, how's it
Hello.
going, Marc?
Good. I'm from Second Print Comics. You might know me from there. You might be listening to me there. You might not be.
Yes.
That's who I am.
So I was out at
Slightly out of
Porkfest.
sync video. Don't mind me.
Yeah, it's all. It looks good over here, and nobody's watching it anyway, so it's fine. I was out at Porkfest, which is why this is coming out late again. Just like, was it the premiere of Obi Wan Kenobi while I was at Reno?
Oh, I believe it was. Yeah, you're always off on a trip when important Disney shows are coming out.
It's odd, like just thinking about that. Like that was only like 3 weeks ago. We wrapped this whole thing up in 3 weeks, which seems
This
strange
was
to me.
short. Yeah, it's weird how they did it. They released the first 2 episodes on a Friday, so then in my mind I thought, oh, this is a Friday show, and then suddenly on Wednesday there's a 3rd episode. So within a 5-day span, they had put the first 3 episodes out. So then the next, it's really less than a month for all of them to come out, which is pretty wild.
Yeah. And for anybody, I might put this out to the general public or whatever, since it's the finale, and nobody's going to join our Patreon to hear this probably. So if you want to hear,
haven't already.
if you want, either one of our Patreons are currently worth more value, or will bring more value to your life than Disney Plus, in my opinion. But
I think that's true at this point.
yeah, science.
Less money too. You can get in for $5. You can't do that with Disney anymore.
That's right. That's right. So if you guys want to hear episodes 1 through 5, we did some recaps in there. I don't remember how many. Like we got them all covered.
I think it was only 2 shows. I think it was just 1 and 3, and then we did a 4 and 5 banger, and here we are.
Yeah. It's all there though, so go check them all out. But we are talking about the finale of Obi Wan Kenobi, if that's what you dare to call this show. Where we just break it down and we spoil everything. So just forewarning, all the spoilers will be in this for the finale. And I want to pull up, before we even get started, I want to pull up Disney on Disney Plus. Let's see if I can share this. 1 second. Where's my screen share? I'm also rusty because I haven't done anything on this in a while. So I thought this was worth note.
Fancy. Fancy production value.
Yes, thank you. This is Disney Plus. I thought that their descriptions were interesting for these episodes. Episode 1 was when agents of the Empire, blah, 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 blah. All these are like Obi-Wan searches for allies. I mean, they're pretty basic, but...
I love number 4. Obi-Wan picks a mission.
Obi-Wan plots a mission. Yeah, I don't know who's writing this
Thanks for letting me know what's going on. Wow, they were really lazy.
Exactly. Even sadder than that, episode 6, the grand finale... the episode description is the action-packed special event finale.
Wow, what a lazy guy got put on this assignment. Holy
yes.
Shit. He's like, I'm not even going to really do a sentence.
Right.
These are like half sentences.
These aren't even like newspaper headlines or anything. These aren't even things to get you to watch them. They're just like...
It's not even this will be an action-packed season finale. It's just action-packed season finale.
Yes. Episode 4, Obi-Wan plots a mission. And then by episode 6... Obi-Wan is over, guys. Like that's it. That's all we can say.
Episode 1, the first episode.
So again, spoilers, and we're crotchety old bastards, and we will rag on it. I honestly, like, my very brief overview is I want so badly to love it, and my notes that I have here that are extensive were pretty glowing, and then I went back and listened to some other people talk about it and break some things down, and I thought about it a little bit harder. That's how these things always go with Star Wars, Disney Star Wars, where you're like, I want to like it, so you watch it the first time, then the second time you're like, eh, and then you hear somebody say one thing and it all falls to shit. How'd you feel about it?
Sad. That's like my exact progression with not just this, but so many things. Like I'll watch something and be like, oh, that was okay, but maybe I'm not really in dissecting it mode. I'm just kind of there for the ride, the first watch.
Yeah.
And then, you listen to a podcast or, some YouTube channel and you're like, oh yeah, those 42 things are really fucking stupid and did make no sense. Then I'm like, well, this is all ruined for me now. So I don't know if it's just a product of the times that we have instant reactions from every blowhard like us out there. Just,
we are
lambasting their opinion.
We are making the world worse by doing this and being the thing that...
for a profit, so it's okay.
Right. We are greedy capitalists, just like Disney. So we will be annoyed that other bastards are ruining it for us, and then we will go out and make money off of ruining it for everybody else. So that's what we're doing here.
Yeah. That's the cycle. That's the endless cycle. But yeah, I I wanted to like it from the beginning, and I think I liked it a little too much. And then as I watched, like I did second viewings of the first couple, I started to like, that's kind of dumb. That's kind of dumb.
Hmm.
And then as I was in that frame of awareness for 4 and 5, I kind of got lower and lower on it. And then the finale, I mean, I guess my review of the finale is this could have been a decent finale of a decent series, but
Yeah.
it wasn't a decent series. So I wouldn't put it at the same category, but in a sense, it's like sort of like um not Mandalorian, who's the other guy? Boba Fett.
Yeah. Same thing.
Where the finale like was awesome and the finale kind of like almost made up for, and I think I actually did make up for that whole series because it wasn't that bad. It was just like okay at points. This, I don't know. I think this a lot of the plot lines in this series and the characters in the series,
No
the fact that
sense.
it was barely even an
It was a
only
mess.
Obi-Wan show, yeah, it couldn't be redeemed by what was a pretty decent finale, I think,
Right.
generally speaking.
I think Boba Fett and Obi Wan Kenobi. I think it's like glaringly obvious. I can't confirm it, but it seems glaringly obvious to me that these were movie scripts that were stretched out over a TV budget for like 5 or 6 episodes. So they've got all these filler padding episodes or whatever, and then you've got some
Obi-Wan
disjointed, messy
was.
characters.
They actually came out and said that about Obi-Wan. They said the, uh, the lack of success of Han Solo changed their strategy, and
Yeah,
they decided
that's
to
what I
turn a
thought.
lot of their movie scripts into Disney Plus shows to try to promote Disney Plus instead. So,
And the
yeah, that's
tragedy
probably
is
exactly what happened.
in these two little mini series is the biggest issues that we take with them is like you have like some good content, you have just about the right amount of really solid content to make a movie, and then the rest of it just get shits all over the
And then
good
there's a
stuff.
bunch of other nonsense that we
Yes,
didn't need. So,
you've
yeah,
got
like, it could have been a good
episode
movie maybe.
you've got episode 1 and then a finale and then maybe one or two good things in between there that could have made a great movie. I mean, there's still glaring issues with Obi-Wan Kenobi and canon and all that that
I mean,
comes to
you
mind in this
remove the
finale, but
Reva storyline, then this isn't that bad. I feel like all of our complaints were centered around how dumb everything with her was. Now there was other dumb stuff
no,
too.
there's
I
there's more.
also didn't need, what do we call her? Man lady, rebel commander, man
Right.
lady,
Yeah, there's so
man
many
lady, rebel
like
trainer,
there's more disposable characters just thrown throughout this series.
slow bot,
More
got
even than Rogue One, I would
Camille
say.
in there.
Yeah. So let's get into it. Reva's back just cause you don't die and lightsabers aren't dangerous anymore. No matter how many times
Grand
people get.
Inquisitor proved that it's fine to just
No
get a little
explanation for
slice in
either
the
one of
middle.
them.
Yeah,
They're just back. They just died. We
put
watched them and we were
put them
supposed
in
to
a
care. Now they're
tank.
back.
Show me a healing tank. Like show me something. It doesn't need to be amazing, but show me something to at least address the fact that you agree that
That
she
she
should have
died.
been dead. Yeah,
Right.
like we know she wasn't gonna die, but can we at least play along here together?
Well,
Can I not have to write the story in my head? That's what frustrates me about these shows is like they have these writers. Well, I don't know if they do based on they didn't spend any money on the fucking writers for the description. So who
right.
knows what kind of budget they're putting into this stuff. But they have supposedly high paid producers and writers here. And I shouldn't have to fill in massive gaps. Like I
Right.
just shouldn't have to. That could easily be solved by a line or two. That's
Yeah.
what's frustrating. It's like
Yeah.
you could do this with a line or two.
Yeah. I
They
mean,
just don't care. They don't care.
so the craziest thing to me, like this is. Can you hear me? Something sounds
Yeah.
weird. All right. The craziest thing to me, which is like mind blowing I'm not a writer or anything, like just from a normal person's perspective watching this, is like episode 5 ends with Reva dying, and we're supposed to care about that. And episode 6 opens with there's a shadowy figure. Oh, it's Reva. It's like, so why'd you kill her in the first place if you weren't gonna address anything around that? She just died so that she could escape from Darth Vader. I like it makes absolutely no sense, and there's zero allusion to what happened to these people or anything. Like why were it was bad enough that you couldn't get me to care about this character over the span of 5 episodes to where when she dies I still feel nothing, but then to bring her immediately back in like the next scene if you were watching these back to back is absurd to me.
Yeah, am I supposed to think the Empire murdered her, healed her, and released her? Or am I supposed to think that she was just fine, just like she have mutant healing power? Because they did show her in a flashback. Actually, they showed like Anakin actually going after her, like
Yeah.
when she was a kid in the flashback. So it's like, oh, so did she get stabbed twice by a lightsaber and
I well I
just
think that
live? She
are you talking about when she's like comparing herself basically to like Darth Vader
Yeah.
when she's gonna kill somebody.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought I took that to be more like not so much a flashback, but her like seeing herself as the villain all of a sudden and seeing herself in Darth Vader's shoes or whatever and being like, oh, I'm the
But you
monster
don't
now.
think it was? But it
I don't
seemed
know if
like
it
it
was a
was a
direct
flashback
flashback
too.
or like a vision of seeing herself in that way, but I don't
Because they
know.
showed Anakin lunging at her, like in the so I thought it was a flashback. Maybe she was just envisioning what he would have done had he actually killed her. Then
That's
the first,
true.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. She's probably died 5 times. I don't know. She'll be fine because life means nothing in Disney. But yeah,
But here's
lightsabers
the problem. This is
aren't
a show
threatening
called
anymore.
Obi-Wan. This is a show called Obi-Wan. What everyone wants to see is Obi-Wan versus Darth Vader. Yes, we did finally get that in a more extended fashion in this episode, and I did generally enjoy it all around. But why we didn't need this whole? It seemed like we jokingly call it Reva season one, but it really is like half the show is about this Reva chick. And I'm sorry, she's not that cool or interesting. And if that makes me racist, then
She's not
fuck off.
cool. She's not cool or
She wouldn't
interesting.
be
I'm sorry.
cool. She wouldn't be cool no matter what her skin color was, and that's the fucking point. Fuck, we even liked Camille. Even though his character's stupid, it's like he's at least brings something to the table. Like
He's
he's
at
like,
least
and
a
he has an
man. I mean,
entertaining.
that
He
helps.
has, that helps a lot. He has entertaining. He has an entertaining screen presence.
Right.
You might say.
Well, that's the thing is
I
like
seen.
the 2 times that I've cared about Reva, maybe even one time that I've cared about Reva was that emotional breakdown scene that she had where they finally gave her a chance to actually show that she can act because all the rest of this just like she's the driest, blandest character and we're called racists or people, not us particularly, but people are being
And
called
she's a good
racist.
actress. The actress is a good actress. She's
Yeah,
been in a bunch
she
of stuff.
has range. She can do it, but they don't give her shit to work with.
Yeah, I don't think there's any problem with the actor. It's the character that the actor was paid handsomely to portray. I
Right.
imagine.
So Obi-Wan and Leia, like this whole, they're stuck in a thing. They're trapped. Like Star Wars always leaves you trapped, and the Empire is about to break down the door or something. I honestly don't even remember why we're here at this point and how we got stuck here and what the like
Talking
even
about it
what
in this podcast or in the show.
no yes no like in the plot
I found my
line
notes.
of the Empire versus Leia and Obi-Wan Kenobi and then just like a gang of random misfits. I watched this episode twice. I'm like, I'm not going to go back and rewatch the other episodes to find out why we're here, but just don't care about this struggle
Yeah.
that they're supposedly in. They haven't built it up or explained what's going on.
I found my notes, and the first thing I said, which I remember now, I wrote, "The recap only makes this look dumber." Because
Yes.
usually the recap, like a recap, is where they kind of clean up the dumb stuff, and then you're like, okay, you just gave me like a clean version to get me here. But the recap in this actually made it look dumber because they show you Reva getting killed, and then the second they show you that, the next fucking frame of video is her just fine. Like
Right.
she's fine. They kind of show her like holding her side at a couple points,
Right.
and she had like a bandage or something. So am I supposed to think she just bandages herself up? And on top of that, like Darth Vader's cool to just let her go. Like there's
Yep.
no security stopping her. And like now that she has betrayed him and like literally tried to kill him, her punishment is just one lightsaber. And if you live it, then yeah, well, you're free. Have
Yep.
fun.
Yep. No, it doesn't matter. She's superhuman because so we finally get some Luke in this episode as well. We've let me see. I had down. I think they did a. Oh, I think they did a pretty good job with the Luke and Leia casting. Looking back on this, like for all the things that I will nitpick, and Leia being a little bit of annoying and unbelievable in the first couple episodes, where she's like running away from thugs and bandits and being perfectly fine. I thought that was a little ridiculous, but here by the end is where I think both the kids did really well, and they're good. Like they're believable as not only Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher, young versions of them, but they're also believable as like twin siblings, which I think they handled cool. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts?
I think the casting choice it was pretty good. I mean, we didn't see much of Luke in terms of his acting chops so much, but he definitely visually. Not only did he look like Luke, but he looked like Anakin, like kind of like young Anakin in Phantom
Yeah,
Menace, which also makes sense. So I think the casting was really well done. I don't hate on the Leia kid character as much. Like, yeah, some of the writing wasn't great, I
yeah,
guess, with her, but I feel like she was also supposed to be just kind of a little bit of an annoying brat who kind of grows on us. And I think by the last episode, she had kind of grown on me and was less annoying, even if she was the Deus Ex Machina who could like fix the ship in the last episode or
right,
whatever. I mean, it's a little silly, but this is Star Wars, okay?
right.
Like the characters are gonna do some silly shit to win, and that's just that stuff I can let go. It's just
Yeah.
completely silly plot threads that is a little bit hard to let go of.
Yeah, I will say, annoying as they may be, I can you name another child actor in Star Wars ever that was less annoying than these two, or more annoying? No, shit, less annoying. I don't
They're
know.
all annoying, all right?
These
Are
kids were
annoying.
the least annoying. That's the point I'm trying to make here. Like Anakin Skywalker was the worst.
Oh yeah,
That was
oh
because
yeah,
of
for
writing
sure.
too. And
Jar
it,
Jar Binks, does he count?
I'm not sure. But even like the
I think I've gone
master.
full circle with Jar Jar. Now I actually am pro Jar Jar, and I want a Jar Jar
Yeah,
show.
just fuck it. Yeah, let's go. Just burn it
Let's embrace
down.
it.
I'm going
You're
full
gonna give me
blown anarchy
shit. Give
here.
me your most ridiculous shit. And you don't need to hire Ewan McGregor or anything this time.
Yeah, it,
I don't think you need to get the original actor either. I don't think it matters.
yeah, and if you need to like cut your teeth on something, apparently they need some warm up and practice on Star Wars writing. You just start with something like Jar Jar Binks, where if you fuck it up, you're not like screwing up everything.
That's what they should do. They should try these guys out by just letting them go wild on an obscure character that no one's
Yes,
gonna even care if they totally fuck it up. And then maybe you graduate to an Obi Wan if you prove yourself there.
right. The interns.
Maybe if you prove you can write descriptions that are more than a sentence, you can then ascend to like an assistant writer's position.
Right.
I don't know how it works there at Disney.
Yeah. I also had down here. These characters that are all stuck in this situation that we're not really sure the specifics on. I don't care about any of them. It feels like Rogue One, where there's just a bunch of characters and somebody says something and it's supposed to have impact, but it has none because you have zero attachment to who any of these people are. Even if they keep
Yeah, like
saying their names, they don't have actual characters here. Like
that
just
one
generic
captain
lines.
character guy who is like he has a whole speech about how he's been fighting his whole life for for the rebels and this and that, and he's got to help them. And I'm just like, dude, I just met you. Like, I don't even know, I don't know
Chill out,
anything
bro.
about you. You're
Chill.
trying to give me this emotional scene, and like, and that's what I was thinking about Obi Wan too. I'm like, Obi Wan's probably thinking that too. He's like, I just met you, man. I don't know. I'm here to get this kid. Like,
Yeah,
what do you want from me?
we care about the character of Luke Skywalker, even when he's an old bastard. We care about him at that point because we've seen him grow from a whiny little bitch complaining about power converters or something, all the way to being a whiny little bitch drinking
I was disappointed we
blue
didn't
milk.
get a power converters reference from him. A little,
Yes,
a little
I am surprised because there were a lot of those nostalgia
power
Easter eggs.
converters.
Hey, remember this line? Remember that? But on these, before we get to that, like on these generic characters, I had down some of their generic lines, like "But we're so
Oh,
close," and "What happened to staying together?" Like just really boring, bland, you know,
generic
lines.
in this together lines.
Yes. What happened to staying together? It's like, what are you talking? Like, when was this plan devised that we have to stay? I just don't care. But um, then at one point, Obi Wan Kenobi says to them, you've spent 10 years protecting the Jedi. This is my chance to return that favor." And I was like, what are you talking about? What is this plot here? I don't know who these people are. It's very likely that it's just me missing something, but
No, I don't think
have
you
they been
are.
protecting him? I'm confused.
I
Who
don't
are these people?
no. I don't remember them being anybody being protected. I thought the problem was that they're all getting killed,
Right.
and then they're all on the run. Like we've
I
seen no
thought I
evidence of
thought he was hiding in
Jedi
a
protection.
desert. How were they protecting
Yeah,
him? I don't know.
yeah, no, I don't understand that at all.
Yeah.
Um, and then I mean, just like I know it's little stuff, but it's like dude, this massive ship, this giant Jedi and not Jedi, Empire like Imperial destroyer can't just fucking hit these guys ever, or like even get a shot.
Right.
Like it's like, what? Why do these ships exist if they're not so much more powerful than these other tiny ships that should be way less fast
Right.
and they're right there shooting at? Like, I
Yeah,
guess it's just one of those things you accept with Star Wars.
I had down now I'm just like typing this on a plane watching it the second time through, and I just typed the plan is something, it'll distract the something, or something can shut down the something, and at the last minute they'll all narrowly escape the something something. Like that's what these plots always are. Just they're stuck, and then they're not stuck because of a magical. Usually it's a fleet of ships that show up to save them.
Here's the other thing I was confused about. So only Reva found that message saying that Luke was on Tatooine,
Yep.
or did Vader find that? Okay,
Yeah,
but
Reva, when she was like dying, quote unquote, she crawls over and grabs the thing and sees it, or pushes the button and it plays.
and then that gives her the strength to
Yes.
live.
Yep. Just like jumping, we can jump around a little bit, but
So
I'll just allude to it. Similar to how Obi Wan Kenobi got the strength to do something just magically out of nowhere because he saw some flashbacks. But we'll get to that later.
Right, right.
No, we've got way too much here to jump around too much. But um, Luke and Uncle Owen come home. Aunt Beru is like suddenly this badass. Uncle Owen was warned that that somebody was coming for Luke, which I'm not sure who was warning him or where that information came from, but apparently it happened. And then they
Yeah,
tell,
how did they know about Reva? Did they ever? I kind of just forgot about that
"Yep,
little detail.
some some
As did
some
they.
some guy we don't know just said, hey, we need to talk," basically. And then they go home, and then because I'm like rewinding this, like, did I miss something here? What? How? But no, I didn't. It's just a mess.
I guess we have to assume like rebel intelligence.
Yes.
It's because comics, because Star Wars. It's just because.
Yeah, and Owen, of course, wants to bitch out, but of course, the Aunt Beru, she's a badass all of a sudden, which is very like, I don't know, very odd to me, an odd choice to make. It's kind of like making Aunt May.
Even making Owen kind of badass is like, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah,
I guess they
that's
were older in Star Wars, but they didn't
right.
seem like remotely.
But
They were just like farmers.
you think about like Aunt Beru in A New Hope, which is only not that long after this, and she's like this sweet, frail old lady who's just like all loving and everything, and
Barely
uh,
alive.
right, but she like pulls out a gun, which is like a BB gun. I'm pretty sure a sawed-off BB gun. She's like, we're okay." So I've got some quotes here. I said, at least here we have she says, "At least here we have a chance," which makes absolutely no sense because he like wants to leave, and she's like, "No, we can fight them off. At least here we have a chance." It's like, why? You're
Yeah.
like two farmers
Where
with a BB gun that your husband didn't even know you owned, apparently. So what's your plan?
Yeah, that clearly makes no sense.
And I had she said, "I'm not putting anyone else's life in danger, Owen." And she's going to take on the Empire because she doesn't want to put anyone else's life in danger, which makes
Who's the
absolutely no
anyone
sense.
else?
Right.
Who's the
Like he
else?
wants to run somewhere, and because they're escaping, that means that everyone will die or something.
Running and hiding seems like the best plan, actually.
Especially in
That's
Star
great.
Wars. Yeah. Seems to work well. Um, she says, "We're enough, you and me," and which is obviously
Oh boy.
ridiculous. But she pulls out the sawed off BB gun and is suddenly ready
I
to
hate
take on the Empire.
emotional moments. I hate emotional moments with characters that we have not learned to care about. It's a Star Wars. It's definitely a this series trope. It seems to kind of be a Star Wars series trope, but I don't know. I feel like even the side characters that we would later get moments with in Mandalorian, like it's because they had built them up and we ended up
Right.
liking them. Here it's like even on Beru, like, yeah, I know her from the future of New Hope, but I haven't really seen her in this series. I haven't seen the relationship of her and Owen. I feel no connection to the struggle they've been through or whatever the fuck she's referencing. Like why I should care that you're having this moment. Like it's
We're
just
gonna
they
get the
shoehorn
strong
and it
we're gonna get the strong woman Aunt Beru spin-off series where it's just her going on badass quests.
Beru this fall on Disney Plus.
Yes. And then
It's
finally,
a prequel actually. It's her as a small annoying child.
right. So finally, in all of this, her ranting about how all this nonsense that they can take on the Empire and Inquisitors and all these things, she ends with, "She'll come when the sun goes down." I'm like, why? How do you
How do
know
you know
that?
that?
She is like a fucking Sith, Jedi, whatever the fuck, and she could come slaughter you guys any time of day or night.
It's
Doesn't
absurd
matter.
enough that they know at all.
Right.
But now you know the specific time that she's
Right.
gonna
She didn't say like they
roll
told
up
me.
on you.
Like Baru just found out about this, mind you. Like Owen found out. He's like, "Oh shit, we got to protect this
Man,
kid." And he goes home, and Baru is like, "All right, we're gonna fight." And it's like
I'm glad you wrote these down because I let a lot of this stuff slide without even thinking twice about it. And when I think twice about it, it's like, oh my god.
it's a mess, dude.
I think the guy that wrote those descriptions did write this show.
Yeah. Obi Wan gives Leia a blaster holster. And he says that she's too young to she's only 10, so she's too young to have a blaster, which I think is very, I don't know, sexist or ageist or something, but um or anti-gun. But is this, I was wondering, like, is this holster,
I think
does it
she's old
play
enough.
into something in the future? Have we seen a holster that is this supposed to be something that she has and
I,
now they're explaining it as Disney does?
I think so. Like I feel like I remember her wearing a holster in certain scenes, so maybe we're supposed to think that's the same holster. like when she gets into like battle mode. That might not even be in New Hope. So I think it's supposed to be like, hey, remember that she wears a holster sometimes, and this is that holster. That's what I'm gonna guess. But I don't think it was ever made any kind of plot point, or like I don't know anyone nostalgic about
Well,
Leia's
it's like, yeah,
holster.
it's like the Han Solo dice or whatever. Like the
Yeah,
normal
yeah,
people saw like this was an ongoing thing, like an Easter egg for generations throughout, like just tiny hidden in places. But then, if you didn't know about it, seeing in the last one, the Rise of Skywalker, where Luke
when they
hands the
hone in on
dice
it.
to Leia, and everybody collectively said,
Right.
"What the hell was that all about?" Like, because it was just like a background thing, and Disney loves to just shove it in your face, be like, remember that thing? We know Star Wars,
They
we get
love to
you."
mainline Easter eggs and then
Right.
act like everyone's gonna get them. It's like, well,
And takes the
if
joy out of
everyone was
Easter
gonna get
eggs.
it, it does. It does. It's like the corporatization of Easter eggs. It's horrible.
Right? If they had the dice in there, like just hanging off the Millennium Falcon, whatever, people would be more like, "Oh, that's cool
And it
that
would still be an Easter egg
they
instead
noticed
of a
that. Good job." Yeah. So,
they should have done a hard zoom on the dice
right.
and a
So,
wink. And a wink to the camera.
you remember. See? Yeah,
Remember?
we get you.
We
We
got
get
you.
you nerds. We get it. So Obi Wan Kenobi, to the black dude whose name I don't remember because they didn't make me care about this character, not because I'm a racist. I'm pretty sure. Um,
It's
but
definitely because they didn't make you care.
Right. The most I cared about him was on this line because I thought it was a pretty good line. But Obi Wan Kenobi, as he's leaving, he's like, "There aren't many leaders left. People follow you. Don't stop."
Yeah,
I'm like,
exactly. That's the emotional moments I'm talking about. These like
good
fake moments of
line.
like
And what are you
they
talking
barely
about?
interacted. They
Right.
barely interacted. How do you know people follow this guy? Like, what are you talking about? He's not even Lady Madam General or whatever was more of a leader
Right.
than her.
Yeah.
I'm gonna change her name every time.
I'm like, it's a good line, but what are you talking about? Where did we see this? Where was this demonstrated? Even like the interactions, but some of the interactions even between like Leia and Obi Wan Kenobi are just like, I don't feel like they have that much of a rapport. Like this has only been a couple of days, and
Yeah, they
she
haven't been
acts
through
like
that much together.
right. She acts like he's this father figure. Yes, he saved her a couple times, but who hasn't? Who hasn't saved Leia at this point? She's always getting lost, and somebody's always saving her.
This is true.
Anyway,
Yeah, it's I don't know why they and it just maybe it's the product of them stretching out a movie. Like they're like, all right, we need a show, so we need more characters.
yeah.
If we need more characters, they got to say stuff. So like, let's give them these lines, and then they're like, what do we do for the lines? And they're
Right.
like, go ask that guy that wrote the descriptions. He'll give you
It,
some
it's
lines for them.
it's sometimes almost as bad as like in the Rise of Skywalker, where they had to have Carrie Fisher in it, but Carrie Fisher's dead in real life. But they kept her alive in the Last Jedi, but they had all this extra footage. So sometimes Leia's there just talking like a crazy person, like saying things that don't relate to the plot just because they had this footage of it. That's what it feels like sometimes in this show, but everyone was still alive and could have read any line you wrote for them, and it still felt that disjointed to me.
Yep, yep, I concur.
So I also thought some of the TV budget was really showing. We'll get to the lightsaber battle later, but even like the ships and stuff, like some of them flying away, I'm like, am I really high or just a little bit high? And this is just bad because some of them looked really cartoonish to me.
The answer is yes to both. Would be my theory.
Likely, yes.
Uh, yeah, it didn't look. I don't even want to say it didn't look up to standards of Star Wars past. It didn't look up to Boba Fett and Mandalorian standards.
Right.
It did feel just a little bit like I mean not quite cartoony, but yeah, cartoon E, I guess. Yeah,
Felt fan
cartoon E is the way to
filmish
put it.
a lot, and
Yeah,
that phrase has been thrown around a
like
lot during this
they're like
series. It feels like a
cue
good
up
fan
generic
film.
battle scene, cue up generic battle scene green screen. It's item number 3234.
Yeah.
All right, we use that one, sir. That's 14 years old. It's fine. No one cares. They're too
And
busy bitching about Reva. Don't
right.
worry.
And let me just say, if this were a fan film, as it feels sometimes, I would have far fewer criticisms of it. But for the company that
I'd
paid
still be
$10
perplexed by
billion
Reva,
dollars,
but yeah.
yes, well, yeah, and I feel like a fan film, they probably wouldn't have done that because nobody cares about
No,
this character. And why would you make a fan
exactly.
film about a
A
character nobody
fan
knows?
film would just have an awesome battle between Obi Wan and Darth Vader, and a tiny bit of plot around it. And that's
Right.
what this should have fucking been.
Exactly. Yeah, I also had down the Grand Inquisitor is back. We already mentioned that. Uh,
Also unexplained. I mean, yeah, whatever.
yep, yep. No need to worry about lightsabers anymore. Obviously.
'Cause he didn't get stabbed. He got stabbed and thrown off the building, right? Like, I
No, I think he
at
just got
least Reva,
stabbed
I
too.
can
I don't remember.
okay, I was pretty sure he got thrown off this building. Maybe I'm just imagining things. Maybe I'm confusing him with Darth
Does it
Maul.
even matter at this
Who's
point?
also alive, but whatever.
I
At
mean,
least he was explained, not in this canon, but in some Star Wars canon, that was
right.
explained.
Well, it's like if
As always.
they brought Darth Maul back for the cartoon, whichever one he comes back in, and they didn't give him the spider legs. They just brought him back, and he was just
Yeah.
there,
And
unharmed,
they
and
didn't
just
explain
they didn't
anything. He's just
even
like, "Hey,
mention
guys,
it.
what's up?"
Didn't even mention it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um.
same Grand Inquisitor. I don't even think she even said, like, "You're alive." Like, it
Right.
was just
There's
like,
like,
"Here I am.
yeah.
Remember me?"
Well, did they come
Oh
back
my
in
god.
contact at all? Because she's on this mission toward Luke, and then
But
Grand
in the
Inquisitor
last
and Darth
episode,
is going for them.
he showed up, like, after Vader stabbed her and has as she was, like, dying, but not dying, I guess.
Yeah.
He was like, "Here I am."
But he doesn't cross paths with her in this episode, does he?
No, not in this one, no.
Okay. So yeah, it would make sense that he might still not know she's alive, and they probably and that might be something that they're playing into. She lived, and they're going to make her show be something where the
Wait,
Empire
is she
doesn't
getting a
know that
show?
she's
Are you
alive or
actually
something.
serious about
I
that?
am absolutely serious, and I
Oh,
believe it
wait, you know, is
100%.
this news or you just believe it? Okay.
I just believe it with
Dude,
all
you're
my heart.
probably right.
I
You're
believe it
probably
with all
fucking
my
right.
heart. Freaking
Dude, I'd rather have the Brew series, to be honest.
Cassian Andor or whatever his name is, he's
Young
getting a
Brew.
show from Rogue One. I
Yeah.
mean, he's a decent character, probably better than she is, but
He's fine,
still.
but no one's like, know what I'm itching to see more? Cassian Andor. I
Yes.
gotta see what he's been up to. What's
Or
his
anybody
backstory? No
else
one's
in
ever
Rogue One
thought
for that
this,
matter.
ever.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
I wanna see IG-88's backstory. That's what I
I
care
would
about.
watch that show. Like, just make it.
Yeah, I absolutely would. Or he can interact with, like, Slowbot and all the other robots.
That's right. Um, Now there's a couple cameo quotes which I felt like were very heavy-handed. The "hello there" one we can talk about later because that's more toward the end. But Luke saying "I'm not afraid," I thought that was just a little bit too obvious because he doesn't have that many lines. And then for like Owen is like giving him like gearing him up or whatever, and he's like just run or something.
Does
He's like "I'm
he
not afraid." It's like come on, guys, that's too on
Luke
the
thinks
nose.
it's the Sand People? What are they called? The guys that Boba Fett hung out with?
The
That's what they
Tusken
tell him,
Raiders.
right?
I
Yeah, they're
don't
like, "Oh,
know.
the Tusken Raiders are coming
Uh,
for you." Like, I don't think he doesn't know it's like because he doesn't Luke doesn't know anything about Jedi shit or any of this stuff.
Right.
Obviously, he
Well,
doesn't.
they had
So
I didn't catch
they just
that
like,
line.
"Hey, these bad guys are coming." I don't think there was a line. I think they're just like, "You gotta go, kid." Like, bad
Sure.
guys are coming. I think they said Tusken. I know he did say Tusken Raiders at one point. So I think
Okay.
that was their cover story to Luke. They're like, "Tusken Raiders are coming." So maybe to Luke, that's like, okay, I this is familiar. Like, I
That's
know
good.
they're around.
Right.
Do they
Yeah,
routinely run from Tusken Raiders? Is that a thing? Do they practice
they
Tusken Raider
routinely
drills? Like,
right. They routinely run from Tusken Raiders for the life, but if there's an Inquisitor coming, they're like, we're gonna stand and fight.
we're gonna stand our ground, damn it.
Yep. But
That makes sense.
yep. No, I didn't catch the Tusken Raiders line if it's in there, but I think
It's
that's
possible I made it up, but I think
I like it. I like it better this way
it would
because
be better
otherwise,
writing than they probably did. I probably just my brain is just writing this for them to fill in all the gaps.
yes, it's like it's like people who come out and speak after Joe Biden, and they're like, "No, he really meant this," and we give him the benefit of the doubt, y'all. But
You know
yeah,
what's funny? I didn't realize it. I actually wrote that same line down, that people will follow you line. Probably just I put it in quotes, probably because I thought it was equally ridiculous. I was like,
yeah,
what? How do you know that? Who?
right.
Name one person.
Yep.
Can you name one? No, you
I
can't.
can't even name the guy that they're supposed to be following, but so so Luke, yeah, I do like that if they mention the Tusken Raiders thing because it fills in a plot hole here. Like if Luke is running away from Jedi type people and sees laser swords and these things, that raises a whole lot more questions than it answers for A New Hope that's coming up very soon in their life.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, Reva goes to Tatooine after dark. Good call there, Baru.
Hey, how'd you know? They had some great
I-
intelligence.
Yeah,
Off-screen
she was on it.
intelligence.
She was on it. Obi Wan goes and meets Darth Vader somewhere doing something. I'm even lost at this point on where he is encountering Vader. Are they on Tatooine? Where are they at this point? He just
So
left the one people. Now he's facing him where?
what I understood was that they, they were gonna chase the rebels to their base, and then Anakin, like, they in the big ship, so Anakin's like, "He just wants me, so I'll go take off, and they'll follow me, and they won't follow you guys back to the base," I think, and then Vader's like, "Fuck it, he's just trying to distract us, I'll just go get him myself," and then I don't know if they ever ended up following the rebels. They seem to not be able to hit them. I'm not sure whatever happened with the rebels that they were following
Well,
because I'm
Leia's
pretty sure
alive
we
at the
never.
end, so they escaped in some way.
So I guess they got her back to the planet again off camera, unexplained.
Flawless,
Yeah, I
flawless
don't think. I
writing.
mean, maybe I'm missing it, but I don't. Yeah, we never saw them land. Because the last thing that we saw the interaction was Obi Wan leaving them, and he's like, "I'm going to distract them so you guys can get away." But
Right.
then if Vader took off on his own ship, why wouldn't they still be going after the rebels? I think we're thinking about this far more than any Disney writer, or definitely more than the description writer
Yeah.
ever thought about this.
Clearly, yes. Now we are to the fight, which lasts. It'll go back and forth. Like this, I have this written down in like chronological order, so it'll go back and forth between the fight and the other fight or the other shit. But the fight happens. I thought it was the first time watching it. I'm like, I want to feel like I know all the parts are there. I want to feel something, and this is cool, right? This is cool. There was just something off, and then it occurred to me that this is TV, and we're finally getting this greatest showdown ever, and it's like made for television, and it wasn't bad, but you could see the budget with like the sets aren't as like big, and there's not as much intenseness or like different camera angles and stuff like that. It just felt like TV, which I mean it was. So I don't know. What'd you think?
I mean, I wrote down that it was the best part of the series, but that's not necessarily saying that much. I think it
No.
was the best part of the series. It's kind of what we've been waiting for this whole time,
Yeah.
and I did enjoy it. But I think it was like broken up to me. I didn't like that I had to keep leaving the fight. I guess this probably would happen in a movie too,
Yeah.
not necessarily, but maybe it would be intercutting between something I cared about
I
instead of
mean,
intercutting with Reva.
In Phantom Menace, you got like 6 plot lines by the end that are jumping back and forth
Yeah,
between the fight.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, so I can't say that's confined to TV, but yeah, I mean, yeah, it could have been better. It didn't feel theatrical. Maybe that's the complaint.
yeah,
It felt like TV, and it is TV, but I think a lot of
but
at
it
least for
shouldn't be
me, like
TV. It should have been a movie.
exactly, precisely. And if it's gonna be TV, it should feel like a movie on
Right.
that just happens to be released on TV. Because look, everyone's got huge screens now. Like the to me the interest in like Disney Plus Marvel shows or like Star Wars shows, it's we're bringing the big screen to your home. It's
Right.
not we're gonna make another same old type of TV show. It should feel bigger, and I
We're
think
gonna
some of
give
the
you
Marvel
more,
shows
but
have accomplished
cheaper.
that. Yeah, some
Yeah.
of the Marvel shows have accomplished that. Like I would say, Loki felt like a movie. Like it felt movie quality to me.
Yeah.
Um, and Mandalorian always feels like this now. Of course, the way it's segmented would never be a movie because it's 20 episodes or whatever for an hour. But it feels like a movie quality wise,
Right.
and this just felt like a step back from that. Like they just held back. But I did enjoy the fight. I mean, overall, I will say, like, I mean, maybe my expectations were low because I didn't get it the whole series, and the one time they interacted, it was the stupid thing with the fire.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I did like that. I'm glad we got to it, and I'm glad it was kind of extended and kind of drawn out. Of
Yeah.
course, there are stupid parts about it. I even wrote this down before it happened. Like the first time that Vader kind of like seemingly defeats him and
When
like
he
leaves
gets
him at the bottom of
crushed
this
in
pit.
in the rocks.
Yeah, crushed into the rocks. And I wrote down he's gonna leave, assuming he's dead, isn't he? And sure enough, he does.
You should
I
love
did also.
this. You should love this because I had down that this feels like WWE or WWF or whatever, where it's like, yeah, I won. Then they turn around and they're like, yeah, I beat him. And then he's like,
It's
no,
yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
back.
It's that meme. If you ever seen the one with the Undertaker standing behind this wrestler AJ Styles, he's like laughing, and the Undertaker appears from
Yes.
behind because it remind me exactly of that. But the I prior to that though, Vader took the high ground and like was able to sort of get the advantage that way. And I do like the whole high ground storyline that runs throughout Star Wars, especially because it does tie back into Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Where if you would never know what that line meant, and I'm sure it was I don't know how much thought was put into that aspect of it, but the high ground thing has been kind of a Star Wars, a
Yeah.
known sort of trope for a long time. But I did like how in Return of the Jedi, Luke gets the high ground, but I don't think anyone thought about that. But there is a line where Vader says, "Oh, your master taught you well." And so then of course we saw that that's how Obi Wan defeated Vader the first time, and then for Vader to come around and take it here, and that's how he nearly almost sort of defeats him the first time before he does the WWE. Oh yeah, he's clearly down. I'll just walk away. I mean,
Yep.
in fairness, most people who get crushed by a bunch of rocks would be dead,
Yeah,
but
but
this is fucking Obi Wan,
this is after
and
Reva came back to life for the same reason, and like everybody comes back to life because we kill them and then we walk away and then they're fine.
yeah,
Nobody cuts
and
off heads. We've got lightsabers. Cut off some heads.
right. Yeah, and or at least check. And also, you should be so in tune with the Force, and like, can't you sense his life? Don't you
Right.
like? You shouldn't. You're the most powerful goddamn Jedi that like exists. You should be able to sense that this other powerful Jedi is alive,
And
feet
like
from you or
powering up
not.
with the force, like just about to
Yeah,
go
yeah.
batshit.
You should be able to sense all that Force power. So that was kind of dumb. But I mean, just I did end up enjoying the fight in the end. That was kind of like the halftime of the fight
Yeah.
when Vader walked away. Because then we go back to that Reva and Owen fight, which is kind of dumb that I'm even writing Reva and Owen fight. That should not be a fight. Like Owen
Right.
is this fucking
Yes.
backwoods
Yes.
farmer. Like
Yes. I have that down here.
and
Reva's still going to get Luke. Owen
he's
and
fighting her with
Baru.
like a broom at one point. Like
Fuck,
what did
dude. It's
what
so
did he even
dumb. It's
have? It's
so
like
dumb. Owen and
you
Baru
just
have
saw
a
this woman survive a Darth Vader stabbing her through, and now she's having trouble with this fucking guy.
Baru's holding her own. Yeah, she
By
runs
the way,
around a
can
corner
we
at
stop
one
for a
point.
second?
I'm pretty sure Aunt Baru slaps her in the face. Like they make it so fast, you're like, if you don't quite catch it, just like, "Meh," and then she runs off, and that's good enough.
Have we even discussed what we're supposed to think Reva's motivation of going after Luke is? Because there's two ones I can imagine. Because we've learned her whole mission was just because to avenge Vader killing kids,
Yep.
and then so she's either going after Luke because she's going back to her old ways and just wants to kill Jedi again. Because the whole thing with Obi-Wan was just to get to Vader. So, but now it's like she's going back to that Obi-Wan mission and going back after Luke, which the only reason to go after Luke was to get Obi-Wan in the first place.
And the only reason to
So
get
what the fuck?
Obi-Wan was so she could get Darth Vader.
Vader, who just yeah, I don't understand.
It's
So
so
it's like
bad.
she should have had this character turn when when Vader found her out and they had that scene. I'll even accept that she lived through that somehow. But then it's like she didn't even have the character turn from Vader killing her. She's still like doing the Empire thing, or she's like in her mind she's just so. No, I can't do this. No, I can't think of another. There's no reason that makes sense that she'd be
If
going
I
after Luke. If
if
anything,
I
she should go back after Vader, or like the cat's out of the bag, dude. Like we're not gonna believe that you're working for the Empire anymore.
Does she know that Luke is Vader's son? Because the only way that I can wrap my brain around this, like especially her killing Luke,
Mm.
like maybe holding Luke captive or something, so she could get to Obi-Wan, so she could get to Vader. But maybe if she realizes, which I'm not convinced or don't know if she is, but maybe if she realizes that Luke is the son of Darth Vader, she's like, well, it's kind of like what Luke did to Kylo Ren, where he's like, I'm gonna take this kid out before he can
That
do any
might
harm.
make sense if they explained that. That would have been. I like the way you think because I'm trying to remember what it said in the message from what's her name, Bail Organa. He was just like, "Oh yeah, I'll meet you on Tatooine." Did he say to get this kid? I don't even like remember. I don't know. I think this is all very glossed over.
The fact that
Maybe they
it's
gave an
so hard.
explanation, but
Yeah, I mean, we are old and we have bad memories, but the fact that it's so hard to even figure out what the
granted,
hell
we
was
are two
going on.
stoners, but
Right. But the fact that we can't like making notes, watching it multiple times, and we're still like, wait, what happened there? How does that make
yeah.
sense? That's
I had
kind
I
of
had
bad.
no problem understanding that Boba Fett, for the parts we like, parts we didn't like.
Sure.
I understood everything happening in that show. So it can't just be that we're stoners watching
Right.
Disney Plus shit.
Yes. So there's the fight with Reva and Baru's holding her own. Reva says, "You really
Rue's
love."
holding her own.
Yes.
Why is Rue holding her own?
Because we've
Absurd.
established already that she's a
Darth
secret.
Vader held his own.
She,
Rue should not hold
she's
her
got to
own.
be like a secret Fed or something, like a Empire agent or something. She's got
Maybe
some
Baru's been a
training.
Jedi this whole time.
Bruce a Jedi, yes. I mean, it runs in the family, and she's related somehow. But so there's this interaction between Reva and Owen, which I thought was really nice. Reva says, "You really love him like your own, don't you?" Owen says, "He is my own." Owen says, "What do you want?" Reva says, "Justice."
Social
What
justice.
the fuck are you talking about? Just like, what is your even motivation at this point? What do you mean by you want to? I am so lost. Like, Reva wants justice, so she's
For who? for herself?
I don't
And I think
know.
the thing you said is the only thing I can possibly, like, twist around to make sense is that now she's just gonna go but I don't think she knows it's 'cause that's a big secret. Vader doesn't even know Lucas is there.
Right.
Like, I don't
Yeah.
think she can know that Vader has this kid on no, I don't think that that would make
I
any
don't
sense at
know.
all.
I don't know. But
But it's
yeah,
the only thing that could make sense, ironically.
I also have down Brew slaps Reva in the face with no backup plan, just in case, just in case a slap to the face doesn't kill a Grand Inquisitor. Maybe have like a knife, something, anything, but no, just slap and run away. And of course, these kids are like fast as hell. You know that they must have Jedi powers because Leia escapes everybody that's chasing after her, every adult human. Can't catch up with her. Now Luke is doing the same because Reva can't catch up with him somehow. Um, Obi-Wan sees these random visions of kids, and then all of a sudden he's able to lift up the rocks, and he's got, Super Saiyan abilities and goes all badass. Starts fighting Darth Vader. I don't know. What'd you think about the pummeling of Darth Vader with rocks? There was half of me thought, hey, that's pretty neat. Never seen something like that before. And half of me was like, this is kind of corny.
I mean, it was fine. I think it to me it was like, all right, the doing all the traditional sword fighting tactics, like Vader was kind of besting him there. So it's like, all right, I'm gonna use all the Jedi tricks in my book. I also feel like Vader should have been easily able to deflect them maybe better, but
Right.
maybe just caught him off guard because Obi-Wan hasn't done the rock thing before.
Right. But still,
Rocks.
at some point,
What?
Darth Vader did just throw all of those rocks down into that pit with ease.
Yeah, they do have a hit. Yeah, exactly.
It's
Yes,
the
just like
same
it's
as
like
the
the fire
fire.
thing.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. It is exactly. It's like the one moment he can control it, no problem. The next moment he's like fire.
I'll kill
Well,
you with fire. Oh
guess we'll
shit,
just
there's
take off then.
fire. How do I get around fire? Yeah.
Oh man, some of this stuff is so bad when I really. Oh man, it's actually like I can't understand it. It feels like they really got late. Like, cause okay, I could see if a writer put all this stuff up, but aren't there like script reviewers, editors, producers, a lot of people that go over this stuff before
Fans
the final product comes out?
fans of Star Wars
Oh my
something.
god.
Anybody? Us?
Like,
You bring us in?
these are simple fixes,
Yeah.
these are not they could fix so much of this stuff, by just again, it's always like, "Give me a line or 2 and
Right.
address that this thing makes no sense at least."
Yeah,
I'm
we
not asking it to make scientific sense, I'm just asking you to agree it's a plot point to address.
Yeah, exactly. And we've seen like Obi-Wan's powers kind of get increasingly more back whatever over this time, but then all of a sudden it's just like now I can do everything. And there's the fanboy in me that loves seeing Obi-Wan do this badass shit, and then there's the critic in me that's like he went from nothing to everything, and now I have to go into A New Hope believing that what he just went back to nothing. He just forgot it all, and now he's just playing around with sand people.
Yes, that's exactly what you're supposed to believe. That he did this one-time thing, found it inside himself. But yeah, there again, it's the lack of progression here. Like you said, like can enjoy a story where Obi-Wan has let himself kind of get disconnected from the Force, isn't really in touch with his powers, has the moment with Leia. Like I was good with that. Like he pulled it out in a life-threatening instance. But then it's like a day later, and he's like
Right.
full power. It's like there's not enough time progression here
It's almost
for us to
as
feel.
strong as Ray Palpatine. It's kind of
Yeah,
crazy.
it's
He's not even a
oh
woman.
yeah.
How did he get these powers all of a sudden?
It's it's like forced progression of characters, but you never see the progression. They just reference. You just see the end. You see the end of it. So it's like we have step A, nothing, and then profit. So, but we didn't we
Right.
didn't get the story. We didn't get the business plan. We just got so where, but there's no profit here. Is the other problem.
Step
Well, for
one,
Disney, there probably still is. I don't know.
right? Step one, learn about Force powers. Steps 2 through 3, whatever, and then you're a Jedi. Um,
Yeah.
so I did like in this fight scene, they had like small touches that I thought were good, where Obi-Wan is like besting Darth Vader, and he like bashes his mask or whatever, which is like the pinnacle crowning moment. Darth Vader's like wheezing, which I liked the wheezing, the play, and back like using the same sound effects as in Return of the Jedi. I thought was cool, and the
Yeah, I
dialogue
did
was
like that a
cool.
lot.
Let's talk
And he
about the
looked very
dialogue
much like
first.
he looked very much like the slightly unmasked like
Right.
version in Return of the Jedi. So I thought they did a really good job of
Yeah,
making what's his name look like that
Hayden Christensen.
Hayden Christensen.
Yeah, I loved the blend between the two, with the voice, whatever. So you can hear Anakin's voice and you can hear James Earl Jones's voice like superimposed
Yeah.
together, so you get that transition. That because we've always been like, oh, he went from whiny kid to whiny adult to James Earl Jones's voice. So that's a little bit off.
How did that happen? Huh.
So I thought it was cool, like showing that transition there. But how'd you feel about the dialogue there and the back and forth with like I'm the one who killed Anakin or whatever.
I enjoyed it a lot. I mean, it might be a cheesy sort of retcon, but it has been this like point of Star Wars contention for a long time. Like oh, you could what does he say in New Hope? He's like, or later. I think it's in Empire when Luke, or no, I think it's Return of the Jedi. Whatever. When Luke finally confronts him, he's like, why don't you? When he confronts Obi-Wan as the Force Ghost, he's like, why didn't you tell me that he was my dad? He's like, you said Vader killed Anakin. He's like, well, he did in a sense, or something like that is the line. Like I think in a
Right.
sense is the line. So I think this does explain it pretty well. Like I think originally,
Yeah.
I don't think George Lucas knew he was going to write this. I really think he's done this whole fucking series on the fly.
Oh yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Just throw
so
shit
yeah,
in
I
there.
think
Somebody else will figure it out later.
because he wouldn't have Luke kiss Leia otherwise
Right.
if he knew he was going
Well, he
in
didn't
that
even know
direction at all.
when he wrote A New Hope, he had no idea that Darth Vader was going to be Luke's father. So like,
Exactly.
kind of making it up as you go. But
Yeah, he just made a movie. Then they're like, "This is the biggest movie ever. Want to make 2 more?" He's like,
right.
"Sure, yeah. Maybe I'll make him his dad." So yeah, I mean, it does explain that because now that's in Obi's mind, and through this encounter with Vader, he realized that this is not even the same person. Anakin really is dead, and he
Right.
really was killed by the emergence of the Darth Vader personality.
He's
And
possessed.
which
Yes.
yes, he's essentially possessed, and his friend really is dead. And I think that's the way he's. This is the moment where you see that emotion, where because I think still inside of him, he still thought, even though Vader's done all these horrible things, like he still thought, like my friend is in there. He's just been corrupted. He's maybe I can get him back. I think that's probably. Of course, they don't really explore that, but that probably is what I imagine the character is
Right.
thinking. Like maybe there's some glimmer of hope for him there, and this is the moment. And you really saw the emotion on Ewan McGregor's face. Like he's like, oh, this is the moment where it's like this is the time he really found out his friend was dead, even though he kind of knew he was anyway. He thought his friend Anakin had died, and he did, but not in this. It's worse than that. It's like so.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they did a really good job of explaining that line, but doing it in a way that it does actually make sense and did provide an emotional moment. That did. It felt shoehorned in a way, but a way that I'm okay with because it actually made sense. And the emotion, the real emotion, was there as opposed to the shoehorned in emotion.
Yes, there's that line was just the moment that we were all waiting for, the most beautiful moment, like the only thing they wrote, I'm pretty sure, because immediately after that, he says, okay, so you're, I mean, I'm paraphrasing here, so you're Darth Vader now. You're not even the guy I know. You're the guy who's murdering everyone, and you're on the ground, just a little worse for wear, but not too bad, and I'm gonna go.
I'm gonna take off.
See you later, bud. No,
yeah, part of
me
it was
there.
like
He left the people so that he could go there to do the thing that he knew he had to do, which was kill Darth Vader. He had Darth Vader almost killed, even though he seemed pretty okay for the most part, still standing even, and then he just leaves him alive. Therefore, anybody who's been wiped out, all the genocides and everything that have ever happened in all of Star Wars canon after this point are all Obi Wan Kenobi's fault.
Alderaan blowing up, that was Vader's call.
Yep.
I mean, all that stuff. Yeah, it's like, okay, if you don't, because I like that he didn't kill him. I mean, obviously we knew he wasn't going to kill him anyway. That's part of the problem with the series is all the drama is around the life and death situation of characters that we know live. So like,
problem with all prequels, you're like
it's
in a
will
box.
Leia. Yeah, it's like, will Leia get home? Will Luke get killed? We know the answers to this, so there's no tension there at all.
Right. But they could have like.
What were we talking about?
Why? How did he
point
leave him alive? He could have. They could have at least like he fights
can you
him
arrest
to death.
him in some way?
I mean, even the first interaction with Rey and Kylo Ren, where like the ground splits and something happens to where they can't kill each other, but they can't get to each other anymore. Like it needed to be something like that, not just I'm going to let you live, even though I know that I watched you slaughter hundreds of thousands of men, women, and children, and Jedi and everybody. I'm just gonna. You're not even my friend anymore. I have no value. Like I have no ties to you anymore. You're a completely different person. He acknowledges that, and then he leaves a genocidal maniac alive and just walks away.
Yeah,
Why?
When you put it that way, when you put it that way, it does make no sense. I was more focused on like the character progression of like maybe at the beginning of that battle because he says like I'll do what I have to do. So I think at the beginning of the battle,
which is let a genocidal maniac live.
I think I'm gonna do the Disney writers' work for them and try to fill in the gaps. I think at the beginning of that battle, he was ready to have to kill Vader if he had to. But then when he had the moment when he realized that Vader killed Anakin in the sense that Vader's action of turning himself, of becoming a murderer is what killed Anakin. And I think Obi-Wan realized if he turned around and killed Vader in cold blood, that he would die. Obi-Wan would die and he could turn into something else. That he could go to his own dark side. So that's why I think he didn't kill him. That being said, there's something between killing him and just leaving him there. Call some rebels,
Arrest him.
arrest him in some way.
Lock
Now I
him
don't know.
up.
How do you arrest the most? Yeah, how do you like lock up and arrest the most powerful
You
force
could.
user
You
ever?
could.
I don't know.
He's more machine now than man. You could just disassemble him and put him in a jar somewhere. He's not that
Yeah, that's
dangerous.
true. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, leaving him there seems like the worst option. Unless he's just leaving him for dead, but it's like obviously he's just gonna like
Especially
force
knowing the
call
future,
someone.
it's definitely the worst option. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, especially knowing the future. So yeah, I mean, obviously Vader wasn't gonna die, but maybe they could have come up with a more creative way, like the ground splitting or something like that, where or maybe like some ship was there and he had to go save Leia that minute, so he couldn't stay on the planet any longer and deal with this. And he's just like, fuck it. So, but I mean,
Nope.
I think the fact that he didn't kill him did make sense for the character to have that change during the battle with everything that happened with
Right. So they should have
Vader.
given Darth Vader an escape route or something. Like make him almost there, so we still have the victory from Obi Wan Kenobi. Because that's the problem with having these two face off in any way is that you can't. Neither one of them can have a victory. Not the other person
Yeah.
can't win. But
Vader looks pretty weak though at the end because look, Obi-Wan is 2-0 against him. The first time,
right.
and when he destroyed him, this time he took him out. And really, you could argue the only time that Vader got the best of him, Obi-Wan wasn't even trying to win in New Hope. That's when
Right.
he was just like, yeah, whatever, dude, I'm
Right.
done. I did my thing.
Yeah.
So
That's one
really,
thing
he's
that I think
like
is
3-0,
hilarious.
kind of.
Like Darth Vader is really not that dangerous if you think about it. Like he's like had the upper hand on these people all these times, and he's never been able to best Obi Wan Kenobi. Obi Wan Kenobi's just always kind of fucking with him, and
And he's supposed to be a more powerful Force user than Obi-Wan Kenobi,
right,
in
we've
theory,
seen
right?
it.
But
We've
so
seen it.
he shouldn't get his ass kicked like twice.
Yeah,
First time, all right, he got the high ground. Second time, come on,
and
he left him under rocks.
yeah, we've okay. So we've got more here, and then yeah, I had a thought, but I'll save it. So
I did
Reva's
write down. Oh yeah, you'll get to it.
Reva's finally going to kill Luke. She sees herself as this Vader flashback or something. We're not really sure what that is, but she brings him back because, of course, she has a change of heart because we need a spin-off series. Luke is fine. Surprise, surprise. Reva cries, and we finally see Reva actually have emotion and act, which I thought was good.
And all is forgiven, I guess, huh?
Right. She's sad.
He's like,
so
cool, so we're good here, right?
it's cool. Yep.
Like,
She's sad and she's willing to give up that lightsaber because you can't possibly craft any more lightsabers. Also, there's an awful lot of lightsabers buried on Tatooine at this point, and Jawas are
they're
scavengers.
everywhere.
I want the spin-off series of where the Jawas are like, they're like doing like mines. What is it? Like metal detectors out in the desert, and they're like, oh, what's this? And then we have like
Another one.
Jawa Jedi. I want that spin-off series
Yes,
personally,
I do want that.
where they're just slaughtering
Jawa
each other.
sabers.
So let me see. Obi Wan Kenobi says, "What you become now is up to you," or something like that, and they're all happy that they're free and stuff. Oh yeah, he says, Obi Wan Kenobi says,
Yeah, why?
"Now
I wrote
you're
down,
free. We both are." Like, what does that
Yeah.
mean? What's he free
Right.
from? What did he even accomplish?
I wrote that down too. Yeah, I wrote down like, oh, now they're free. I was like, what? From what? We're actually just where we started the series, and the Empire still is total
That's-
control.
That
What are you
is
talking about?
exactly the point I was going to make earlier, but I was going to save. Yes, this entire series, the entire point of it was
Nothing
to
has
explain
happened.
to us how Obi Wan Kenobi went from badass to hobo in the desert, and we started with him being a hobo in the desert, and then we made him into a badass, and now we're
Yeah,
back
that
to he's just
actually
one.
makes-
Like the end of this leaves us exactly where we were. Vader is defeated.
We're still wondering
and-
how he became a hobo in the desert.
and Obi-Wan Kenobi probably thinks he's dead or something. So literally nothing has transpired over this entire series because Vader is still alive, but Obi-Wan Kenobi thinks he's going to die. And Obi-Wan Kenobi, we still don't know why he becomes a hobo in the desert.
Yeah, at least again, things that could have been solved with one line, like, "Well, I've had my one fight, but now I'm gonna go be a hobo in the desert again." Like,
Well, I've
just
met
a
my
line
quota.
Like that, I'd be like, okay.
I met my
But
Jedi
now
quota.
instead they're kind of like insinuating. I don't know. A lot of people were happy about this. Well, was this a post-credit scene? I don't remember. Or is there more
No.
stuff to talk about before he meets Luke? Or can we just skip to that?
Let me see.
There's the holster scene. There's the where she gets her holster and like,
Yeah.
you know, decides to be a princess
Oh, we
basically
do
because she
have
hated politics.
we have the Palpatine cameo, which is just
Oh, right.
a
Yes.
he's there and neat. He's there. I'm
So
yours,
did
master.
he
And
die
the
or
end.
was I wrong about that last week?
Who?
I
Ian
thought the
McDermott.
Palpatine. Yeah.
I don't think he did. I think you were wrong about that, but I could be
Really?
wrong about you being wrong. It's happened before
All
once.
right. Well, I'm gonna do live research. Yeah, he's seems like he's alive.
Yeah. So this cameo, I mean, it's what do you
Okay,
think?
maybe there's an article where he says the Emperor is definitely dead this time, so maybe I'm confusing that with myself.
Well, if
Like,
the
oh, I
Emperor
thought
is
you were
definitely dead,
dead.
then you're of no value to me. So you're dead to
Yeah,
me. So it's
you're
fine.
dead to me, sir. Luckily, we
um,
have Disney Plus shows. But yeah,
another
I liked it. I mean, look, I'll pop for the Emperor every time. Come on.
right. Yeah, I didn't need much from him on this. Like this was basically just a scene saying, "Hey, see, Darth Vader is there, and we're leaving you off. This is Darth Vader. He's with the Emperor, just like you started with." But everything's backwards started. But a random point when Leia's putting on her attire and she puts on the holster and everything. I had written down, has Leia honestly never changed her sense of style from the age of 8 to 60?
Yeah, I think that was the idea. Show her in her like now she's in her Princess Leia outfit, and
Right.
then she wore this for 10 years.
Yeah, and like we've seen different iterations of Luke. He's gone through the dark phases and the light phases and different things, but Leia has just always been the buns and the white costume. So
I
I
love
don't know.
Dark Luke. That's why Return of the
Oh yeah,
Jedi is still it's. And I'm aware it's not the best movie. Like I'll agree, Empire Strikes Back is the best movie, but it's still the one I
still your
just enjoy
favorite.
the most. 'Cause I love Dark Luke. I love everything with Jabba. And I fucking love the Ewoks. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
the dark weird shit. I'm the same forever. Up
More
until
Muppets is basically the most
yeah,
Muppets is what gets my vote every time.
sure. Up until a couple years ago, I was like, yeah, Return of the Jedi was always my favorite, and then I rewatched them and I was like, yeah, there is a lot more character building in Empire, and
Oh
especially
yeah,
Yoda and shit like that pushes me toward. I'm probably more.
you get Lando, you get Yoda. I mean,
Yeah,
there's a lot there. There's a lot to like.
yeah, and Yoda's my favorite. So crazy drunk Yoda. If I can get more of him, great. So Obi Wan brings Leia back, or brings Lola back to Leia, and who cares? He tells her about her mother and father's attributes, which I will admit made me
I
feel a
thought that
little
was
bit.
another forced moment. Like, oh, Obi-Wan's reunited with Lola. Great.
Oh yeah,
They had a
that
great
was.
relationship. Like,
Well, yeah. Well, no, I'm talking about. There's the Lola thing, but right after that, he's talking to Leia, and he's like, saying the good attributes. He's like, I said that I didn't know your parents, but actually I knew your mother and father, and your mother had this, and your father had this, and I thought it was cute. I thought it was cool that he like said the good attributes of Anakin and stuff, and he's like, I see those in you. I thought that was neat.
it was cute, but it was also like, yeah, fuck these parents that raised you. They didn't do shit. They had nothing to do with you. Like, I kind of, I mean, maybe I'm adopted, so maybe I'm a little sensitive to this kind of stuff because I'm like, oh yeah, my parents are pretty great. They raised me really well.
I
So,
just
and
killed
he's
your
just like,
father again, and also he's
and
not
Obi-Wan's
dead.
like, yeah, whatever your parents do doesn't matter for shit. Yeah, you're only good because of your parents, and they're
Hopefully,
dead.
you're nothing like
So,
them. They were kind of awful people.
but so he could. I mean, I guess you wouldn't want to traumatize a child like this. He
Yeah.
could. He knows that Obi-Wan is that Darth Vader is her father, and could have
Yes.
told her that she's not
Right.
dead. But no, he's justifying it with yes, Anakin is dead.
Right.
Only Darth Vader
Exactly.
is alive.
Yeah.
All right, fine. I'll accept this.
Now,
I will accept it.
explain to me what's happening here, because Obi-Wan goes and empties out, I guess, is it supposed to be his cave, his place that he was living on Tatooine? He's like packing up shop. He leaves a case there, which I'm sure there's going to be a whole series about that in the future. He leaves a case that's not mentioned.
Obi-Wan's case.
Obi-Wan
Coming soon to
the
Disney
case.
Plus.
Yes. Yeah, is he
I think they might be doing a second season of this. Actually, I mean, I'm not
I
sure if
wonder.
that's news, but it's rumored. But maybe it won't after this. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how Disney Plus judges things because obviously they have internal numbers about who's watching what. I'm sure a lot of people watch this, but yeah, I mean, I don't know how they can judge that based on did this earn us money? Did this get us new subscriptions or anything like that?
Here's another thing. Like I talked about how we end where we began, but we also end where we began, but with more questions than we had before we started, because he's leaving this Tatooine area where he's watching over Luke. It made sense for him to have been there the whole time, and just like the guy that we met at the beginning who's watching Luke, that explains a whole lot of why he's just a hobo in the desert watching Luke. in
Yeah.
A New Hope, but now he's leaving there and just going off on what, an adventure with. Okay, so the whole ending, Qui-Gon Jinn, all that stuff. We can talk. Whoop, hold up. Ooh, hey, that's even louder. Wow. We can talk about all that stuff. Qui-Gon Jinn, everything. But he has the interaction with Uncle Owen, where Owen allows him to meet him, but he basically just he meets him and he says hello there, and that's cute. And then he goes off
Hello there.
on his adventure with cameo Qui-Gon, who they couldn't pay enough to have more than 2 sentences.
So are we supposed to think, I guess, this is not the start of a relationship between Obi-Wan and Luke? He just met him one time and then never met him again, and that's why Luke doesn't know who the fuck he is in 10 years?
That's what I got. Yeah, he's just that
Because doesn't
Ben
Luke say
guy.
my dad knew a doesn't Luke say like, oh, my dad knew a
I
Ben
wonder.
Kenobi,
Yeah,
right?
he's like, I wonder if he
Maybe he
means old
does
Ben
vaguely
Kenobi.
remember.
Yeah. So
Yeah, so
I
that
did
actually,
like that.
I guess,
'cause
could
he
make
just saw him
sense.
in
Yeah, yeah.
passing, and he remembers him
'Cause
from
he may
like
have,
that old dude who gave
yeah,
me the toy, basically.
yeah, that could make sense because he's even denying, and then in New Hope he's denying he's even that guy. He's like, nah, I'm not, I'm not that guy. So
Hmm.
he probably just met him that once, and maybe his dad has mentioned his friend Ben Kenobi a few times. And
Yeah.
all right, I can buy this one. I can work with this.
Yep. So let me see.
But if they do season 2 and he has a whole fucking adventure with Luke, I'm gonna I'm canceling.
Right.
I'm gonna stop.
Okay. So I almost didn't mention he goes and talks to Uncle Owen. And the reason why he's leaving, according to Obi Wan Kenobi, the reason, which raises more questions than it answers, he says, "You're right. He just needs to be a boy. Uh, the future will take care of itself. The only protection he needs now is you and Baru."
Yeah,
Fucking what? Like,
not really.
you're the
They're gonna
guy
die.
who just had to
And
protect this kid. Like, spent all this
well,
time making sure he didn't die, and you're like, you guys got this because you held
I
off
think
that one
he's
chick.
I think
The
he's
most
saying
important
no one
bounty in the
else.
entire galaxy, and you're just like, these farmers got this pegged.
I think he's saying like no one else knows about Luke or something.
But they do. They were just there,
But that was just Reva, right?
and she's alive. We trust her enough now to be
Well, yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly.
she's alive.
That was my
Cool.
point.
She's
The
good.
one who definitely knows is Reva, and I guess we're fine because she
She
gave
buried her
herself up
lightsaber,
and
so it's all over now.
buried her lightsaber, so we know she's not going to cause trouble now.
She's been known to be very trustworthy. You can really take her at her word. When she says she's not going to do something, she's not going to do something. So just leave him there and leave. Like, again, from the beginning, it's like, why does Leia get an entire planet and all? Like, it makes sense that this very important bounty would be protected by a planet and all this security and armed guards and everything. But then we've got Luke, who's just like, just a
With these
kid of a
farmers,
farmer, and they're like, yeah, that all happened, that adventure that we just had, but we're going to give you less security than you had before. Just stay here and hope. These Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen were murdered and burned alive by stormtroopers who are notoriously known for not being able to kill people. These two old folks in the country are not the security that they have proven to be.
No, not at all. And I mean, do we? Yeah, there's a lot of things to think about here. Like, does Darth Vader? So Darth Vader does not know. He knows. Does he know Luke exists? Like, he knows they were born, and he knows Leia is the daughter here, right?
I don't think.
That's
I
like
think we're supposed to believe that he can't know that they still exist as. I don't think we're supposed to believe that Darth Vader knows that
He was not
has
kidnapped
kids
for that
until
reason,
later.
right? Wait,
He
I'm
still
trying to
thinks
remember,
that his kids are dead, like they died
Right,
in
so
birth.
So he right, okay. No, but then okay, so when does Vader find out that he's Luke's dad? Because he revealed
We
it to him,
don't
and we all
really
learned
know
at the same.
that. That'll
Okay.
be its own series, and it'll be 6 episodes long, and it'll give us 30 seconds of content.
Yeah, because that just comes up in Empire Strikes Back, like he already knew, always
Right.
knew.
He found
But
out
he
at some
didn't
point.
know about. So, but that never happened on a movie or show, right?
Even in the movie, like he can't. Even if he knows that Luke is his kid, which I don't think at this point we're supposed to believe he does.
Because then why would Luke be safe for the next 10
Right.
years?
Luke is fine. And then also there's where Luke and Vader are fighting, I think in Empire, where he says, also, sister. Like he reads his mind or whatever and realizes that he has a twin sister. So he doesn't even know that Leia's alive at that point, or that Leia is a thing.
Right.
So
Right. So were they just? Were they just going after Leia? Oh, it was to draw out Obi Wan. But how do they know? What the fuck? Because wasn't that the whole reason that Reva had Leia kidnapped was to draw out Obi-Wan? So
Yeah,
he must have known about
I
the
think.
relationship. Oh, so I think she intercepted the message from Bail Organa. That's what it was. That
Yeah,
actually does make sense.
she was going after Leia because I could be completely wrong. Nerds shout, whatever. But she's going after Leia because she knows that Obi-Wan has ties and he's supposed to protect her. And then she sees the message that says, "Oh, there's this other kid that he's supposed to be protecting." And she's like, "All right, I'll go to that kid anyway." She just knows that Obi-Wan's going to this kid. Why she still cares about Obi-Wan Kenobi at this point, I have no idea, because she's supposed to be going after Vader, who killed her 30 seconds
Were
ago.
they searching for Obi-Wan this whole time, the 10 years that passed?
I
I
guess.
mean, like, and they just
And he was hiding right outside Anakin's old home. Yeah. Who knew?
like literally
The
right there.
last place you'd ever think to look, because it's the dumbest possible place you could hide. Um,
Yeah.
so
So it was yeah. I mean, I think I wouldn't say this redeemed the series, but it was better than most of the series. But all the dumb shit from the series was still here.
we got to
So
talk
it's
about
not like on
Qui-Gon.
the
We haven't really
okay.
gotten
Let's talk
into
about
that.
Qui-Gon. All
What'd
right.
you think? I mean, this is basically on at the same. It's on par with Palpatine, but Palpatine's being a throwaway is a lot more acceptable to me than you brought him in. We all knew you were, and it's literally like 2 lines of like, "I was always here. You were too dumb to notice me," and until I took off my
I
glasses and let my hair down. Then you're like, "Oh shit, there he is." Now let's go. You have a lot to learn, and they walk off into the sunset on a camel. Because also, why does Obi-Wan Kenobi not have a land speeder? That bothers me. Why is he riding through
that's
the desert on a camel? But yeah,
great
what'd
question.
you think of this throwaway scene? Was it worth it?
Yeah, I guess I mean I guess why I get why they didn't want to make Qui-Gon maybe an essential part of the show, probably because Liam Neeson costs more money than they'd want to spend on that.
That
I mean,
helps.
in my mind, he was like, "I've been here the whole time, but they didn't have the budget to show me the whole time." So like,
I was
um,
always here in your
like
mind.
I expected to see it, and yeah, I guess I just wish there was a little more. It was really just like a remember me, and then I guess maybe I wish it was that he came to him in like a more crucial moment, like during the battle with Vader, maybe like when he was collapsed under those rocks and was like maybe that's when he's questioning if he's going to survive, and then maybe that's where Qui Gon comes to him and it's
Yeah.
like, "You always had the power, Obi Wan," or something, something
Use
to
the
play that
power.
into the
Use the
story.
force, Obi-Wan. Oh, okay.
Because I
Didn't think
really
of that.
could have used you back there with the rocks. Remember the rocks
Thanks
and
for
the
showing up
fire?
now that I'm just
I
here
could
in the
have
desert.
used you. Could you? Yeah. So like, yeah. I mean, I like that he appeared, but by the time he did, I'd actually kind of forgotten about it entirely. And then I was like, oh, they just tacked it on the end. It's like I really feel like that could have been a really crucial part of the story, where it was really just more like, hey, we got to tell them we hired Liam Neeson to do a green screen shoot.
He comes out, he's like, "To be continued," and that's pretty much it.
I
Um,
kind of wish he was like, Obi-Wan, I need to tell you something. I have a very special set of skills. Just goes into the whole.
Yeah. No, I thought that when I first watched it, I was like, the scene. I don't know, like seeing them together. It's the same as like the Darth Vader fight scene, where it's like I like that I'm seeing something, but I'm also not really seeing anything other than you did the thing that you knew that the people wanted in some way. Like, it doesn't add anything to the story. It doesn't take away from the story. It does raise some questions, because now Obi-Wan Kenobi is just going to go off, I don't know, on adventures or to train more or something to become a more powerful Jedi, so that he can become a homeless wizard in about 5 more years or something like that.
Yeah. Again, as with all this stuff, it's like we have to fill in the gaps to try to make it make some kind of sense, because the writers and Disney they clearly just don't care. Like they clearly just wanted to put us to sell us on Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor, which they did because I watched it, and they just really didn't care. They probably just said, just have it come out so you can still make New Hope make sense, and that's all that matters.
It
And
makes
I
less
guess
sense. It makes
it makes less
less
sense
sense
is the
now than it
issue.
did before.
The only thing
Why
that makes
why
sense
does
is the stuff between Obi-Wan and Vader, and that stuff makes more sense, but everything else makes less sense.
if in A New Hope, Obi-Wan Kenobi shows up and he's a badass Jedi who's been training all this time, this would make sense. At the beginning of this, it made sense that he's in the desert watching Luke and loses his mind. But now it makes less sense, because why is he like, he even just said like, I'm free now. I guess that means he's free from watching the boy or something like that. Like, that's the only thing I can assume. But does that mean he's going off on adventures? He doesn't stay on Tatooine. He ends up back on Tatooine later on. Like, he's this thing started where it should have ended. He should have ended on Tatooine as a homeless wizard.
Yeah, it's weird that he leaves that cave and they go out of their way to make that scene. So it's like, so I guess he's going to Obi-Wan season 2, and then at the end of that, well, maybe he'll be back in the desert home because
And then
maybe he'll realize he does need to stay around the area.
you're like, oh shit, I guess I never should have left that
Maybe he's.
boy.
It'd be funny if they just did like a 2-minute YouTube video where he's way on the camel and he's like, "Did I really just leave Baru and Owen with that kid? Fuck, I gotta go back." That should have been if that was a post-credit scene, they would have redeemed the whole show. I would have been like, you know what? That's hilarious. Like, what am I thinking?
Did I really just leave Baru and Owen with the son of Darth Vader in the wilderness while Sith people know that he's there? That seems like a terrible idea. What was I thinking?
Yeah, or if that's what Qui-Gon appeared to say. He's like
Obi-Wan, there.
What the fuck were you thinking? Those two fucking farmers? Are you nuts? He's like, oh shit, you're right. I'll go live in the cave again.
That's the cameo.
That would have at least made sense.
Oh yeah. If they had Qui-Gon's cameo be Obi Wan Kenobi's riding off in the desert, and then Qui-Gon Jinn just emerges and like, oh, and he's like, nah, nope, get your ass back there. You know your job. Get back there. That would have been great, and I would have been fine with that. Yeah. I don't know. Would it be better without the Qui-Gon Jinn appearance? No. Would it be worse without it? No. It's fine. It just exists, and seeing those characters together is the only value that it brings.
The only thing that upsets me is they had the 2 minutes with Liam Neeson and could have used it better.
Right.
So they could have used it as part of the story instead of just remember him? You knew you wanted this cameo and we delivered it.
Right. There's a lot. There's in this episode, and this is kind of how the end of Boba Fett was too, where it's like I like it because of all the cameos, and I enjoy the cameos. But then when I think about it too hard, I'm like, those cameos were just there to be cameos. Like in this one, there was all the cameo lines and cameo characters and cameo whatever. Just Palpatine shows up and Qui-Gon Jinn shows up, and then they're gone, and they don't add or subtract. It's fine, but I feel a little bit insulted when I start to see the manipulation that we know Disney is doing, where they're like, we're not going to give you this character actually, like in this whole series. Shit. Like this whole series has been, we're going to give you this character, and we're going to pretend for 6 episodes that we have a reason to be giving you this character, and we're going to convince you, manipulate you into believing that. Like, that's how all of this is. But
I could have used a Yoda in the show. A quick trip to Dagobah. Easily could have explained it, escaping with Leia or something like that. Like, I've got to go visit an old friend, and then maybe fucking Yoda could have been like, leave him with farmers, you must not. Like,
you remember the last thing that happened when we like left a little Skywalker kid just sitting around? Killed everyone.
Yeah, he turned into Yeah. Return to Tatooine, you fucking idiot!
Actually, it might make sense for them to leave him there, because the reason why Anakin Skywalker became, the downfall of civilization was because the Jedi fucking meddled in it. And they're like, yeah, this kid's got midichlorians. We'll bring him on, and he'll be great. And then he did this. Maybe they're just like, Luke just needs to rot there and pray that he never figures out his powers because he doesn't have a good bloodline.
And that was kind of like the plan, I think, was the idea, was that he would just be left away
Princess
from this
Leia
stuff.
a princess that's going to lord over an entire whatever.
That's the part that makes zero sense.
Yep.
I mean, yeah. Because there's a totally different strategies. One is like put her in this high, very public position of an adopted child on a very wealthy like planet or whatever, and the other one is like stick this kid with some fucking farmers. I guess it's like A/B testing. Let's see which one of these works better.
Yes, exactly.
Now we'll know for next time.
Yes. So that's it. Roll credits. We saw him, and now they're gone to do God only knows what, to raise more questions than we began with. Overall thoughts, overall ratings of the series. What'd you think? What does it need to exist? Are you happy? Are you more happy than you are sad that it exists?
I think I have to drastically, now that I've taken the big picture, now that I've watched several episodes twice, I have to drastically change my outlook on the series. I know we were a little chipper about it at the beginning.
It's been a roller coaster.
I did
like all this. Down.
If I'm judging this episode as an episode of this series, which I guess I am, I think it's the best. I think it's the best episode of this series. Problem is that's not saying that much, because there's a lot of garbage in this series. Everything with Reva sucked. Fucking, you didn't need the whole weird side thing with the Camille fake Jedi thing. I mean, there's just so much fluff in here and extra characters that, again, the fake progression of these characters that we never get to know, like people follow you guy I just met. Like, It's just like, You could have
and they're
done
just
away
there
with so
now.
much of that stuff. You know what you could have replaced it with? Explanations of the story that would have made more
Or a
sense.
story. Start
Or
there.
a story, for example. Yeah. So I mean, it's. I think I'm going to give the overall series. Honestly, maybe I've become too bitter on this one. Um, and probably it's only this high because of the finale pulling it up a little bit. Because I did mostly enjoy, despite some fair criticisms, the Obi Wan Vader interaction, and that being a big bulk of the episode. But it's with everything, with half this series being the Reva show and her nonsensical storyline that didn't even end up making any sense, even with her supposed like character turn in the end, still didn't make sense. Like, no, I'm sorry, and then add in these fucking poor descriptions. I mean, it's just like the deal breaker. I'm gonna give this show, my friends at the Weird Science Comic Podcast, they have something that they call, it's almost worse than getting a lowest score, because something is like a really bad, it could actually be entertainingly bad, and this is
Yeah.
not that kind of bad. So they call it the fuck you five. So I'm going to steal this from them. I'm going to give the show a fuck you five. It's a
Ooh.
five because it's not even bad enough to be good.
It
It
doesn't
just
have the
is
rewatch
dumb.
value of a really bad show. It doesn't have
No,
any rewatch
exactly.
value.
Right. Like I get a pure joy out of Jar Jar Binks scenes nowadays. Like, I think it's hilarious and bad but good. I don't think I'll ever get that joy out of Reva scenes. I don't think
Right.
I'll ever be like, you know what? I am seeing a little charm, and no.
Right.
So that's why I'm giving the series a fuck you five. I'll give the finale a 7,
Yeah.
because I really did enjoy. I mean, I did enjoy the most of the Vader Obi-Wan interaction, and that's and those moments are what lifts it up enough to get it there for me.
Yeah.
And I take back all my prior scores from episode 1 being like a 7 or 8. I was blind.
Yeah.
I
No,
was
I
blind.
agree. Yeah.
I had Obi-Wan, Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan giddiness. I had Darth Vader giddiness. I was on the drug,
Yep.
but the
Same.
effect wore off
Yeah, it's
very
like
quickly.
their strategy now is bring in a legacy character like Boba Fett, and then give you a whole bunch of good nostalgia meat and substance in the first episode, pad it out, then get you to the point where you're like, nah, this is gonna suck. So your expectations are really low. So that finale, they can make it just as good as the first episode, and you're like, oh shit, this was amazing. And then you leave it with that high as they move into Obi Wan Kenobi, where they do the exact same format of give you the bump at the beginning and then pad the shit out of it so you keep watching, and then give you that bump at the end so you leave it feeling high. And I don't think this even gave me that bump high as well. Maybe, I'm not sure if it gave me as much of a bump high at the end as Boba Fett. But my overall review is this should have been another movie. And I understand that movies come with higher budgets and higher production costs and stuff like that, and higher standards. And I think that's why it's not a movie, because a movie would have higher standards, higher criticism.
Yeah.
This, if it flops, they're like, okay, well, it was a lot of padding, and we were just, it's a TV show. That's what TV shows are. And it's like, yeah, but this shouldn't have been a TV show. And the reason why it sucked was because you were afraid to make a movie. You were afraid to go to bat with it. Even like you played it safe a whole lot, introducing new characters that we didn't care about and killing them off, or potentially hypothetically killing them off, or whatever. It was a mess overall. It makes no sense within itself as a series, and it explains less than it raises questions throughout the entire thing. I would give it probably I don't know if I would go as far as to say a fuck you 5, because it's also Star Wars, and it's also, we do have those scenes now that we can go back and enjoy a scene or two. Like, I feel about this the same way I feel about
Yeah.
all Disney stuff. Like, I love The Last Jedi, that palace fight scene or whatever with all the red shit, as ridiculous
Oh yeah.
nonsense as it
I love
is.
it.
I love it.
I'm with you.
I'll go back and watch
I
some
think
scenes
that's
from
my
this,
favorite of the new trilogy movies, just because there's parts that I can just turn off my brain and
and it
enjoy.
looks cool.
Because
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
And in this, it's like we have those moments that look cool, but they don't even look as cool because it's not a movie. So it's like, I don't
Right.
know. Like, I
Right.
love that you gave
Yeah,
me these characters again, but you didn't have a reason to, and you're proving that. So
right. Yeah. Well, the things that should redeem it don't redeem it as much as it could if it were done better and with
right,
like a higher quality.
I would say a 6. I would say a moderate fuck you 6, if that's possible. I would
Can be.
probably
Yeah.
rewatch it with my kid. But as far as like, I'm not gonna go hit replay anytime soon unless it's like for a reason. And I would give this episode in particular, like, the first watch through with my brain turned off. I was like, that's cool. It's cool. I dig it. I probably would have given it an 8 on first watch, maybe a 9 even. And then after thinking a little bit, I would probably give that about a 6 or maybe a 7 too. Like I would have to go back and remember what I gave the other ones because it's definitely higher than the rest of them, especially the fluff in the middle. It's definitely the best episode of Obi Wan Kenobi the series, but that's not saying a whole lot. So somewhere around 6 or 7 area, unfortunately, and hopefully. I hate to say hopefully we get a season 2 because I don't trust them to make a season 2. But what do you think, Mark? Would you
Right.
rather them take that risk of screwing it up more, or just leave it alone? Please stop doing this.
I think if they see it as profitable, there's no reason they won't do another season. I think Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen already said they would. I believe, or one of them said that. I'm pretty sure. So
They got to
I mean,
get that Liam
I guess
Neeson budget now, though. Like
what are they gonna
that's
do? Because
it's in there.
they can't have Vader and Obi-Wan battle again. If they do another Obi-Wan, it's got to be like maybe he battles Darth
Darth
Maul in
Maul.
some
Yep.
side mission this time. Like because I think that was the original plan until they signed Hayden Christensen
Yeah.
for the series was to have Darth Maul. So maybe there's still a story there, like on the back burner. Make it a movie, but they're not gonna do that.
They're
So
not.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll watch it obviously, and then come here and complain about it with you. So I'm down.
Yeah, I'd be down. Make this season 2. Bring in Darth Maul to make the end of Rogue One make any sense, or the end of whatever it was. Solo. Where did Maul come in the?
Solo, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Tie some of that in with the syndicates and
He
stuff
just like
like that.
came onto the screen. He's like, "Hey, I'm here. Good night,
Also,
everybody."
here's my lightsaber in case there was any question as to who the guy with the red face was.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good writing. For the last 10 years, Disney's been knocking this out of the park. Yeah, I say make a season 2, make it about Obi-Wan Darth Maul adventure or something, and then you can bring in some of these characters. Since he's kind of like able to leave Tatooine, we could send him on another adventure and do another thing, and Darth Maul has ties to Tatooine still too. I think they probably will, and they'll, instead of having the high, like maybe Hayden Christensen and James Earl Jones had a higher budget or something, we can trade that off for a Qui-Gon Jinn budget and just give them another thing. I'd be fine with it, and I also fully expect them at this point to completely fuck it up.
Yes, I agree. No matter what, they will fuck it up. I mean, they have at this point they have to prove me wrong. At least with maybe it's just the Kathleen Kennedy stuff because I still feel like even Boba Fett, it faltered, but it was still pretty decent. Like I didn't have the kind of vitriol towards Boba Fett that I
Yeah.
have towards this. So it seems like the Favreau and Filoni stuff, maybe I can trust more, and then maybe I'm still gonna watch it no matter
Right.
what. So I'm part of the problem, but whatever.
Right. Yeah, no, with Boba Fett, like you go into it having no clue, like this guy's backstory or anything. Like it's explaining his backstory, so we know Boba Fett, we know the character, but we don't know anything about him, and that's why you're there. With this, it's like we know everything about Obi Wan Kenobi, we know everything about Anakin Skywalker. You're just filling in a small gap, and you couldn't even get that right. So the stakes were set a little bit higher with this, I think, than Boba Fett, because they could really do whatever they want with Boba Fett, just as long as you say this is why he's alive. Here's some fun things that he did in the meantime. But yeah,
For sure.
all right. Any final thoughts on Obi Wan Kenobi, the series or the season 1 of Reva? I'm not sure. Your thoughts?
No, but what is the next Star Wars series? I think I've said all my thoughts
Probably
on this one.
Reva.
No, but it's Andor, or
I
there's
think
also
it
some
is.
like some other like rebel type
Ahsoka
fighter
is going to be one
show.
too. They're making an Ahsoka one.
All right, well, I'll pledge to keep joining you
down.
and complaining about them if you want.
These are the one thing that I will watch no matter how much they hurt me.
And eventually we'll get Mandalorian season 3 like next year, I guess. I imagine.
Yeah, and it'll be all about Boba Fett or Reva. Because we
That
have a
would be
hard
funny.
time. Disney has a harder time focusing on what the hell they want than we do here. But Mark, thank you for another series of whatever recaps that we feel like watching at the time. Tell people where they can find out all the second print comics things and everything you got going on, man.
Oh, the usual secondprintcomics.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at secondprintpod. Give us money at patreon.com/secondprintpod. I think that's about it.
Right on. And you can find me, if you are listening on Second Print Pod or anywhere else, you can find me at thesystemisdown.tv, where we talk about all sorts of nerdy shit like conspiracies, politics, religion, and all sorts of things that trigger you. Thesystemisdown.tv, or you can support at patreon.com/thesystemisdown, and you can get all the, as I mentioned earlier, all the former episodes of our Boba Fett, our Mandalorian, I think we did, and our Obi-Wan Kenobi recaps at either one of our Patreons, patreon.com/thesystemisdown, or /second print pod. All right, guys, that's that for this show. And let us know what you think. Comment, like, share, do all the stupid shit that millennials do while I try and Pad this time to find my outro.
I was like, wow, you're really dragging this ending out, huh?
Really dragging this ending
Really
out.
don't want to let it go.
It's a mess here. I told you I was rusty. So you can find us at our websites on the internet. Good Lord, it disappeared. Where is it?
Want me to sing it?
If you would be so kind to sing any Star Wars theme, really.
Or is that Superman?
I don't know. All right, guys. Thanks. We'll talk to you later. Bye.